So I'm a father of one. I gotta find a babysitter. I found Care.com and I was blown away. Through the platform, I was able to find local and experienced candidates along with their reviews and rates, which were way more affordable than I anticipated. Care.com really put me at ease knowing that they were all required to go through a background check. If you're like me and you need to find someone reliable for your childcare necessities, check out Care.com. Find the ideal sitters for your childcare needs.
The following is a GoPowerCat.com and Spirit Street production. You've discovered your link to GoPowerCat.com's Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast, presented by Fridge Wholesale Liquor, and it starts right now. Now, let's go to the WTC Gig-Powered Studios. Here are your hosts, former K-State tight end Travis Tannahill and former Wildcat safety Monte Spiller.
Welcome back to the Tannahill and Spiller Podcast. It's myself, Travis Tannahill. Got Monte Spiller next to me inside the Go Powercat Podcast booth. Monte?
Hey, we got a victory.
That is true.
We got a victory.
That is true.
On the road against a, I would say, traditionally a explosive Texas Tech offense and a traditionally not so great defense, but I think roles will kind of flip this past Saturday. The defense played well the first half, and their offense not so much, but it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, a little bit of surprise, especially that first half. I mean, 6-3 at the half. I think everyone was a little shocked on that. If anyone had the under for the first half, that's definitely won that bet. But yeah, it was. And it wasn't like, I mean, a lot of times you see those 6-3 ball games at halftime. You know, it's 30 different penalties, 4 different turnovers. They're like, no, it was just a punting duel.
Yeah,
it was just a defensive duel. And, I mean, they were playing decent football, just not on the right side, not on the offensive side of the ball.
And I agree. I think the defense is on both sides of the ball. I expect that out of K-State, but not so much out of Tech. But both defenses were flying around, and you kind of alluded to it early in one of the podcasts. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but teams were kind of figuring out our offense, and they would run blitz first and second down, and Tech came out, they slanted, and they brought the backer from inside, and basically it was a calculated blitz expecting K-State to run the ball, and they had some early success against that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that this Kansas State offense is going to have to adjust to, because I think it was first play of the game even. They brought obvious running down.
Yep.
They brought pressure through the A gap or the B gap and blew up the play, got there before the pulling guard could get there. And that's just something that this offense, we talk about keeping teams honest so often. And usually it's just run versus pass.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is going to have to be run versus pass versus run with a lot of pullers versus downhill running versus power scheme, zone scheme. So there's a lot of different things this offense can do to keep teams honest, because I think the script's kind of been written on this Coach Mess and Coach Kleiman offense and how to beat it.
Yeah.
And if you can, or at least initially. And so this offensive staff is going to have to adjust to that, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I'm sure up at North Dakota State, the teams they were going against figured it out once or twice as well. So they got to have a counter to those run blitzes, because right now, especially that first half again, it's working against K-State.
Definitely. And I think kind of going back to the offense, I think I know for a fact they threw a few new wrinkles in to kind of keep guys off track. I know, I'm pretty sure you saw it too. A lot of times, and they were open, we just didn't connect. They brought Brown out of the backfield up the seam, and it was open several times. I think we connected maybe once or twice, but we probably didn't connect 2 or 3 times, where if he catches the ball, he runs for a significant amount, if not a touchdown. So I think, going into this week, Iowa State is going to have to be aware of the fact that they can't just bring somebody, because if they do, either being Brown or another back, they have to stay honest and watch that guy up the seam.
Yeah, and I love that they got Malik and Youngblood involved in the run game a little bit. Both of them had 3 carries, so that's a 6 carries out of the rushing carries. That's a pretty decent chunk, at least a somewhat measurable percentage of the rushing plays, at least trying, because I think I mean, especially Malik, and we'll see how that injury pans out. Whether it was a shoulder injury or a forearm injury, I think they're still a little up in the air. But he's just too good not to get the ball.
Yeah,
and he's too good. And it's teams can take away. It's pretty easy to put a cheat safety over the top and take away a receiver. I mean, Malik is good, but he's not good enough to beat double coverage 10 times a game.
No, it's not going to happen.
And still find a way to get him 10 receptions a game where, I mean, if you hand the ball off to him, he's going to get the ball.
Yeah.
So I think and I like that strategy that coaching staff is doing for him and Youngblood to get them involved a little bit in the run game, especially while Kansas State is beat up at that running back position.
Yeah, definitely. And, the good thing about it, at the receiving position, those guys, they're receivers on the roster, but between you and I, we know they're athletes. You can put them pretty much anywhere on the offense side of the ball as far as skill, which helps us out because we are banged up so much at running back. And moving forward, the thing I get excited about, the guys that are producing, Malik Knowles and Youngblood, they're young guys. They're freshmen, man. Freshmen and redshirt freshmen, they're making plays like seasoned vets, which is awesome for us moving forward. And I know Scholar has to be excited about that for the rest of the season and for next year to help him out. On the flip side of the ball, both sides of the ball, we had some injuries happen, unfortunately with Malik, but also Walter Neal Jr., he went out early in the game. And one player that stuck out to me, number 2, he's a redshirt freshman. Let me see. What's his name? I was looking at him earlier. Robinson. That kid made some plays, and I love his confidence. He was man up. They didn't have help over the top, and he didn't blink once. And he made a couple of good plays on air where a lot of guys, seniors, juniors, sophomore, freshmen, would have panicked, and he didn't, and he made some plays. So I'm excited to see him get some playing time. And actually, it's Robinson. I apologize. It is Robinson. Yeah, you said it right.
Lance Robinson.
Robinson. And the other guy, 55, Fletcher.
Yep.
That kid, I was like, where you been?
Yeah, he made a couple good plays.
Dude.
Yeah, Cody Fletcher, he was probably the guy that stuck out to me the most on defense.
Yeah.
Just, I'm trying to think. He had one. Was it a pass break? He had one good play real early, like one of his first snaps.
Yeah.
They came after him. I think it was a pass out in the flat.
Yeah,
he just came up,
and killed a guy.
Made a really good open field tackle. And there was another time. I think it was in third quarter. He dropped, got his depth in coverage.
Yeah.
And had his zone and deepened his zone.
Yeah.
And was able to break the pass up. And I mean, yeah, we saw some numbers and some faces out there
making plays.
I got to check the roster just like everyone else sometimes. I'm like, man, who are these guys? And that's depth is getting a little better. You guys are getting some experience.
Quality depth.
Yep.
There's a difference. You and I both know that quality depth. And the fun thing about it is guys are stepping up that we haven't seen outside of special teams, getting some significant snaps. In a regular scheme of things, offensive defense, and they're making plays, and they're young guys. So we have a lot of returning quality individuals along with that class that they're bringing in. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, Taylor and Brooks too in the passing game, getting 2 touchdown receptions. So I mean, a lot of new faces getting the ball thrown to them. It wasn't just the Schoen and the Knowles show, which it sometimes is, and I'm not against that.
No,
but it's easy to take away one guy. It's a little harder to take away 2 guys. That when you lose Malik to an injury.
Yeah.
I mean, guys got to step up, and they did on the defensive side of the ball, and it sounded like we got out pretty healthy on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So it was for as boring as the first half was, we'll put it this way. The first half was like very boring. I was like, man alive. Second half, much better.
Yeah.
So.
And we got the fireworks started. They scored, and then how many times has it been 3 times this year where a team scores and we go down, and all of a sudden we return the kickoff? The one time it was Malik. The next 2 times it was Youngblood, where special teams, and I saw where Jordan Nelson tweeted out, nothing like seeing a staple in K-State football, special teams showing up, and I couldn't agree more. I love it. I love it, man. So that's fun to watch.
And I think Kansas State fans get a little spoiled because if you look statistically at kickoff returns and punt returns, I mean, there's teams that don't have a return in a decade. There's teams that go 5, 6, 10 years without a touchdown return. Mm-hmm. And for sure not one a year. I mean, I don't know what the average is, but the average is less than 1 return touchdown a year across the country. And Kansas State, I mean, is that a third?
Third or fourth this year.
Yeah, counting punt returns and kick returns.
So, and the thing about, but it's good to be spoiled, but it's expected.
I love being spoiled.
It's part of the culture, man. That's something that K-State has taken pride in over the years. Quality special teams. You got, and not just the guy returning the ball. I know, I got my playing time started as a redshirt freshman on special teams. I remember the first time I blocked a punt against Colorado. I was on, seventh. I was in clouds. I'm like, hey, I'm not starting, but I'm on special teams, and I made a play. So I was just excited about it. So, special teams are definitely special at K-State. So.
Yeah, I played a bunch of special team snaps as well, and I was always just like the wedge or the shield on punt or the wing on field goal. I was the boring spots.
But very important. Very important.
Coach Dickey, great guy. But because so the wing on field goal, the last guy on the edge is you got a guy coming in. You're one guy short, so I got to take up two guys, and literally, like, your job description was to get your butt kicked slowly. He was like, just get your butt kicked as slowly as possible. Like, we only need you to hold it for a split second, as long as they don't get a free run. And of course, butt wasn't the word that was being used in that building, but it was. I was pretty good at getting my butt kicked slowly.
There you go. As long as you didn't get exposed, everybody was okay.
Yeah, I don't think I never let up a punt and never let up a field goal. So, and I was part of on the wedge on kickoff return, so I was able. Shoot, we had Lockett back there. It was easy. It was like just run down the field, and he's so good at setting up your blocks. Man. I was like, I'll just run, and he sets up my block for me, and the guy runs into me. So
he's a special dude.
I think he had a good day today in the NFL too, or a good day Sunday in the NFL. So.
Yeah, you might be right. Going back to the game, our D-line, as many snaps as they played, those guys, and I just love watching them play, and a lot of time, Hubert is the big name guy, and I'm not one to really criticize officiating, but our D-line got held a lot that wasn't called, and they were whooping those guys' butts on the right side. But kudos, man, shout out to our D-line, Walker, Hubert, Ball, Mitty. I know probably a couple of guys I'm missing, but at the tempo that Tech plays, and as big and strong as those guys are, they have to get winded. And our coaching staff did a great job of subbing guys in and out. But regardless, they were getting to the ball pretty much every snap. The quarterback from Tech, he did a good job of getting out quick, but he didn't really have a clean pocket a majority of the game.
Yeah, I think that you just mentioned it, getting the ball out quick. That's got to be so frustrating as a defensive line. Because if they're taking 5-step drops and holding on to the ball, every single snap you got a chance to get there.
Yeah.
When that quarterback's getting the ball out in a split second, like Texas Tech was, you got to rush hard the whole entire game. And just from a timing standpoint, even if they didn't block you, you're probably not going to get there most of the time. So just the mental, emotional side of just keeping your head down and keep playing hard. Because before that, say, like, all right, I'm probably not going to make a difference on this play, but I still got to play hard just in case. And that's and they did, because you see guys come off the ball and start looking at the quarterback's eyes and trying to get their hands up, and it's like, that's not how you knock down passes. You just got to recklessly come after the ball, the quarterback, and throw your hands up last minute, not fire out the ball and try to jump up and get it. So it's those guys did play, and I was getting a little worried there in the third and fourth quarter, because they were looking gassed.
Yeah.
And then K-State had, Texas Tech had a good drive. I'm like, all right, we need a good long drive here from K-State. Give that defense a break, and boom, Youngblood returns a touchdown from the kickoff return. So I was like, well, that didn't work. Our defense is still gassed, but we'll they'll take 7 on the kickoff return any day of the week, just like everyone else will.
Oh, yeah. They found a way, and it's one of those things, too, where going back to the game, the D-line did a phenomenal job. But one thing I did notice, and maybe you did, too, pre-snap adjustments or pre-snap good looks they gave. They had 3 safeties at the line of scrimmage and 1 guy deep, and on the snap of the ball, corners were bailing, ended up playing safety, safeties ended up playing the flat to corner. So the defense did a great job of giving Tech multiple looks, and a lot of times I think that kind of forced them into bad passes or to pull the ball down. Their quarterback, he was a good scrambler and well with his legs, but a lot of times your average quarterback who don't have the mobility like he did, he's either sacked or they're throwing the ball away. So I'm kind of anxious to see moving forward against Iowa State this week if we threw some of the same things, because I know Purdy, he's a great quarterback, but he does have a bad habit of licking down receivers and throwing into some bad situations. So hopefully some of the things we did today Saturday, can give them the same problems come next week.
Yeah, and I think Jeff Duffy, that QB for Tech, Duffy, he played a lot better than I was. I mean, he's good.
Well, last year we dominated him last year.
Yeah, he played really well. He threw some really nice balls.
Man, yeah.
Had some really good scrambles.
Yeah.
And, I watch a lot of Big 12 ball, but I've watched a game or two of Texas Tech casually. Mm-hmm. It's not like I've broken down 400 of their snaps or anything. So, but from what I had seen prior to what I saw on Saturday, mm-hmm. He's gotten better, and I think that Texas Tech staff, they got the pieces there.
Hey, man.
to do all right. So,
and the funny thing about Tech, there's one of those schools. It's West Texas, and it's not a whole lot outside of Lubbock in the immediate area. And it's one of those things, they've been able to recruit some quality guys to come out that way. And I'm going to give their coaching staff credit. They did a good job. Although some of the pass plays they called were somewhat, I don't know, kind of, I hate to say goofy, but it's third.
What was it, like the triple pass?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, on 3rd and 3, I'm like, why are you throwing a triple pass?
Yeah, but it solved nothing. It was like, there was one time it was like, a reverse pitch back, and literally the ball moved 4 feet. I was like, or the quarterback just could have dropped back.
Exactly. Exactly.
And no one had the ball long enough to
draw
the defense.
I know.
So yeah, I don't
crazy.
quite know. It was and the play-by-play guy even called him out. What are they doing? That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if they were just desperate because they understood that they had to win this game to even have the opportunity to become bowl eligible the following week. But who am I? I don't know what's going on in their heads. I don't know if they had injuries. I don't know if they saw some on film against K-State they thought they could exploit. But I'm glad they did it because it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. And bringing up play-by-play, Ben Lieber had the color on the game. He did a nice job.
Yeah, Ben always does a good job.
Yeah, Ben's a class act and purple at heart. I've called a couple K-State versus other games, mm-hmm. and it's hard to not be biased, and you almost overcompensate it, which I saw Ben get a little flack on social media for being too hard. And first off, Ben's a defensive guy, so he's always going to favor with the defense, just like I favor with the offense, because I'm an offensive guy. So I think most of the questionable calls happened when Tech was on defense, so that's why you saw him favoring Tech a little bit. Yeah. But I also think when you're in that situation, you almost subconsciously overcompensate to make sure you don't come off as a K-State homer, because I know deep down
he wanted to
he's bleeding purple and he was cheering inside, and after that game he was super pumped the Cats got the win.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I kind of laughed internally as I was watching the game by myself, like you and I both like to do, but he did a great job of keeping it professional and not being biased, and I did notice that he kind of jumped on Tech's bandwagon just a little bit to kind of keep it unbiased, as you and I both know that he's a K-State grad and a former player and part of the program and helped build a history. So we appreciate him, and I'm proud of him. He does a great job every time I see him on air. So
yeah, he does a nice job.
Good job, man.
Great guy, guy representing the program and
definitely
getting out there in the national media scene and doing a nice job. So we all good with you all good with Tech?
Yeah, I'm good with Tech.
Okay.
It was a win that we needed to get going into this week's game against Iowa State. As I wanted to call you at the beginning, Trav Damas, or instead of Nostradamus, Trav Damas, since you predicted that we'll be 8-4. Hey, one game away.
One game away, baby.
1 game away. 6:00 game. It might be a little chilly. It's Kansas, 6:00.
Yeah, chilly and wet.
I hope it doesn't rain. But it should be an interesting game. Iowa State, they're both eligible, I believe, and so we always have a battle. I know most of the listeners probably realize and understand that the nickname is Farmageddon between two schools that are ag-heavy schools and take a lot of pride in their fan base and the students that come here. And so it should be a fun game. I'm excited. We can go 8-4. I don't want to look ahead, but I'm kind of curious to see who we're going to get matched up with in a bowl game.
Shoot, 8-4 with a chance to be 9-4 sounds real good.
Yeah, it sounds really
9-4 after a bowl win sounds real good.
Yeah.
7-6. Correct? That's what it would be. Yeah, my math is all right there. Yeah, 7-6. Yeah, that's barely 500.
It could be 7-6 if we lose our next two games.
Yeah, lose bowl games.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. No.
But going back to this weekend, Thursday, 80%, 1 inch of snow, 40. Friday, 53 and rainy, half-inch of rain.
Okay.
Saturday, 45, partly cloudy. So,
but the high is 45, right?
High of 45, night game, low of 27. Yeah, it'll be dark by then.
It's going to be dark
and
chilly.
then Sunday, inch of snow. So we got 3 out of 4 days of moisture surrounding Saturday's kickoff. So I'll be there, rain or shine.
I'll be there as well. I'm excited. You know, we match up well. Iowa State is not the Iowa State that everybody thought they were going to be preseason, but they're definitely still a worthy opponent. I think our defense, our linebackers are more than capable to give Iowa State's quarterback and running back a little bit of problem. I think our D-backs match up well no matter who's back there. If our offense gets going, and our defense coordinator, he's a great defensive mind, but if our offense get going early, we can frustrate them, and I think we can kind of run the ball if we choose to and not physical them. But that's one thing we have to get off early and start early and dictate and impose our will against them early. So I'm curious to see.
Yeah, and overall, they want to do a lot of things Kansas State does. I mean, they want to run the ball. They're a pretty balanced team. They want to control the clock. 42 passes last week. Let's see, 31, 33, 34 rushes.
Yeah.
42 to 31. That's a very, very balanced offense, especially in today's day and age. I mean, it's still slightly pass heavy, but in today's day and age, that's about as balanced as you're going to get. From fellow Big 12 opponents. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think both these teams are at a kind of similar situation. Obviously, Iowa State 7-4 as well.
Yeah,
struggled with KU though.
And it pains me to say this out loud. KU is not a bad team. And think about it doesn't surprise me that they gave them problems, and they gave everybody problems. We are one of the few times where I felt like the opposing team dominated them.
Yeah.
But as a K-Stater, you got to be a little bit confident coming home after a tough road win in Lubbock where we didn't play a great game until the second half. And I think the key to our victory, and it goes back to the beginning of the season or the mid part of the season, our O-line has to dominate. They have to dominate this game because they know what we're going to do. We know what they're going to do, but we got to impose our will, and it starts with the O-line. It's going to be senior day. All five of our O-linemen are senior. So I would think that will light an extra fire in those guys to go out their last home game here with a win. So I'm anxious to see those guys come out and take it to Iowa State.
Yeah, senior night's always fun. What's your thoughts on a home game after Thanksgiving? I guess I've never just really paid attention. So, I don't know, if the crowd...
Normally...
The stand's going to be full. Yeah, I can't decide.
I think so. I think because...
And if they're not, I kind of understand.
Yeah, I think it will because it allows the students to go home for Thursday.
Yeah.
And instead gives them Friday to recover from all the eating. And then with it being a 6 o'clock game, that allows a little more time for travel.
Yeah.
So I think most of the students will come back. And then there will be people who are back home visiting from other places who haven't had the opportunity to make a game that will come out as well because they're back home for the holiday. So I think it'll be a decent crowd.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a home game than an away game. I remember my junior year, maybe my sophomore year, I can't remember, we played UNLV out in Vegas after Thanksgiving, and I remember we couldn't go home, and obviously we were here getting ready for the game, so we all had Thanksgiving dinner at our coach's house at the time. Bob Stoops was my coach, so we all went to his house and had Thanksgiving dinner, and we flew out to Vegas the next day. So it's not that bad. Who knows? But I think it'll be a good crowd, and especially after coming out the win. And how can you not be excited about the program? So come on out. Yeah, come on out.
Yeah, no, I hope people will come out because this is I think I saw Coach Kleiman with that win is already in the top 10 winning percentage, so something.
Yeah, I saw that
I'll look it up next time you're talking.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah. And so I mean, this has been a pretty historic season so far. I mean, just the way this team's been able to find a way to win ball games.
Man, and the way we started, there was a lot of questions after we beat Mississippi State, people start to go, okay, wait a minute, maybe this was a good hire. Then you beat OU, and all of a sudden, that bandwagon is top heavy because everybody's on.
Shoot.
Everybody's on.
I jumped on.
I know, right? And then we lose a couple of close games. And if you think about the 2 losses that we had in Texas, we should have won. And we let them get away with it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And excluding Baylor earlier, and Baylor is a lot better than we realized.
Thought. Yeah. Baylor's a lot better than anyone in the country thought.
As well as Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State's a lot better too.
And
yeah.
So when we lost to those 2 guys, I was like, But now looking back, okay, there's never a quality loss, but you lost to some good teams.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State and Baylor here. So, and then we lost to Texas, and then we lost to lost my train of thought. Who did we lose to last week? Help me out.
I'm thinking, too. Holy crap.
West Virginia.
There we go. There it was.
That's why I couldn't remember.
Blake Seiler's boys.
Yeah,
I tried to black that one out.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. But,
that was a bad loss.
That's a game that we shouldn't have lost either. But moving forward, we won Saturday, and we could win this coming Saturday and finish off 3 in a row going into next season. I'm excited.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yep. I think this team I think I saw 5-point underdogs for at home, maybe 4-point underdogs for Kansas State this weekend. So, and I think that's probably accurate. Iowa State's probably, if I were a betting man, which I'm not, I would feel a little more comfortable about putting money on Iowa State. So, but we'll see. I hope the crowd comes out.
We were underdogs against Tech, I believe.
We were like 2-point underdog, basically a wash. So
yeah.
And they had a very poor crowd, so I don't know how much home field advantage
it wasn't
that created. So
yeah,
but should be a fun weekend. Hopefully this weather holds. Hopefully everyone can rest up from eating too much turkey on Thursday and get their butts in the seats and cheer loud and bring the team some energy. And that's one thing I would like to touch on, because I think this team when it has energy and it has emotion, like it played against KU in Oklahoma, when it has that fire, it can be a pretty good team.
I agree.
When it comes out flat, it's some boring bad football. And yes, that's Coach Kleiman's job and his staff to figure out a way to get those emotions high and get those kids fired up. But also, especially from the defensive side of the ball, those players feed off that crowd so much.
They do.
And so that crowd has a part of that win, and they are a part of this program.
Yeah.
And they are a part of Wildcat Nation. So when you don't use your tickets, or when you give them away to someone or sell them to someone on the other side of the matchup, sell them to someone in red and gold, I mean, you're hurting your team. So get your butt in the seats, cheer loud. I don't care how cold it is. Me and Monty will be there.
Yeah, we'll be there, and this time we're wearing jackets. So.
Yeah, well, I might try to find a spot inside, let's be honest. So
I'll be outside with the true fans.
Yeah, no, I'll be outside for at least the first half.
I don't blame you. All right, well, coming up here shortly after the break, we're going to bring in a good friend of mine. We played together. Ryan Young, one of the, and a lot of times, a lot of fans don't get to know offensive linemen and hear about him. But this dude, from the time he stepped on campus, he's been a quiet giant, I like to call him. But he always left an impression wherever he went. So I'm excited to get him on the phone and talk to him a little bit. So we'll be coming up here with Mr. Ryan Young.
The Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast is sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. The Fridge is your source for all of your tailgate and party needs. The Powercat Podcast will be right back.
When the whole family comes together to watch the game, nobody wants to miss a second of the action to run to the grocery store. With Instacart, you can get all your weekly groceries in as fast as an hour. Less time shopping means more game time. Let's go. Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.
Diets and workouts, you've done the work, so why can't you get to your goal weight? That's because up to 70% of your weight is predetermined by your genetics. So while you've been told that it's all about your willpower, you're actually fighting your biology. Don't do it alone. Found's Doctor Design program uses medication as part of a treatment plan that targets your body's unique biological needs, so that your body works with you and not against you. Take the quiz at joinfound.com to see if Found's weight loss program is right for you.
And now we return to the Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast, sponsored by Fridge Wholesale Liquor.
Welcome back to the Tannahill and Spiller Podcast. We got Mr. Ryan Young on the phone with us. Ryan, how you been?
I've been great, man. How about you guys?
Oh, we're celebrating a Wildcat victory, so.
It's good, yeah. That was an awesome game last night, huh?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah. So, first off, kind of tell the fan base, first off, tell us, like, what years you played, position, kind of just the overall, where you were at, when you were at Kansas State, and then kind of where you're at currently.
Yeah, so I came into K-State in 1994. I think, Monte, you were, a year ahead of me, right?
Yeah, I came in 93.
93.
Yep.
93, and so I remember coming in and Monte being a solid upperclassman, man. He was always nice to me and tried to show me the ways of being a Wildcat. But, yeah, I was there from 94 through 98, played offensive tackle, played both left and right, depending on where they needed me at. Served a two-time team captain under Coach Snyder and played on that, infamous 98 team where we missed the national championship by one game. So
we don't talk about that, Ryan. Yeah. We don't talk about that.
I know. Well, I live here, and you're talking about where I'm at now. I live in Dallas, Texas, around a bunch of A&M people, and so every time they find out that I went to K-State, they bring up that game, and so I had to relive that moment every single time here when we talk about Texas A&M. So anyway, but I'm here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I serve currently as a pastor of a local church here in Texas. So
awesome.
Yeah, just working in ministry. My wife and I, charity. We have 4 kids, all young adults between 21 and 16. So we're just being parents of young adults and working in ministry.
That's awesome. That's good to hear, man. You and I, we keep in touch a little bit. I think the last time we actually ran into each other face-to-face was at a ball game back at the
it was.
Yeah, in Dallas at the Cowboy Stadium in Arlington or Dallas, whatever you want to call it. But, so, a lot of times, I know what you're about. Tell us a little bit about your pro career. I was, joking with Trav earlier. A lot of times people, they recognize the skill position guys, but don't really remember or think about some of the guys that played in the trenches that allowed those skill position guys to become the big names that they are. So tell our listeners about, when you got drafted, where you went, and a little bit about your pro career.
Man, it was a lot of chance, and I was in the right place at the right time, drafted by the right team, but I was drafted in the 7th round, so I almost went undrafted, but I was drafted by the New York Jets. And, the Cowboys almost picked me up, and had the Cowboys picked me up, man, they probably would have encouraged me to either keep the weight that I had at K-State or get heavier. Well, I was drafted by the New York Jets, and Bill Parcells said, listen, son, if you come in and you drop 30 pounds, you get down to 315, he said, you'll make my team. And so that's what I did, man. I was drafted over the next 2 months, lost, that weight, got down to 315, came into training camp, lean and mean, leaner than I had ever been, high school and college. And worked my way into a backup position. Ended up starting about, I think, 5 or 6 games into the season at right tackle. And so got some Rookie of the Year honors with the Cowboys. Not Rookie of the Year, but all rookie team honors with the Cowboys. And started for the next 2 seasons with the Jets. I was traded in the expansion draft to the Houston Texans. And so I got to go through this ceremonial draft moment where I was drafted 2nd overall behind Tony Baselli, and so I got to go up and hold my jersey on the stage on ESPN, and they captured that moment, which was a pretty cool moment, but really sad that I had to leave my family with the Jets because we were tight. I mean, we had a great offensive line and a great family in New York. 1 season in Houston, and then I signed my final contract with the Dallas Cowboys and played 1 year of a 3-year contract and retired after 5 seasons due to injuries.
Fun. Yeah, that's so. You said 5 seasons. What was that injury? Just out of curiosity.
Well, it's ironic. I fractured my hip against the Cowboys when I was with the Texans. It sounds bad, but it was. But I probably rushed back. We had David Carr, Derek Carr's older brother. Yep. We had David at quarterback, and we actually held. We were the most sacked team in the NFL. We still had. I think we gave up 76 sacks, and so I tried to rush back Tony Baselli never played because of shoulder injuries, and so I tried to rush back to sort of help a young line and probably rush the injury or rush my body back into action. Well, when I came with to play with the Cowboys, man, the hip injury flowed into the knee, and the knee was already, it wasn't great. And so it was actually a combination of hip and knee injuries that forced me into retirement.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But 5 years, still a great career. 5 years longer than me. So.
Ditto.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
Hey, so
vested after 3. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was about to say vested after 3 in the NFL has really been good to me in regards to, I paid for my master's degree and when I had a hip replacement about 6 years ago now, and medical expenses and just health, they're doing a much better job now taking care of guys and that are vested at least, and so really appreciative of what they've done for me and my family.
That's good to hear, man. And you're a great guy, and you definitely deserve it. I'm happy to hear that you are doing a lot of things with your ministry and such, and I kind of follow you a little bit on social media as well. Do you, how much time, if possible, I know you're in the Metroplex area down in Dallas, and there's tons of football going on all the time. How much do you follow this year's Cats current team with the new coaching staff? And I know I was talking to Trav earlier about the O-line being all seniors. Starting and coming up with senior day. What are your thoughts on the O-line and when you watch the games, what do you watch?
I just watch I watch everybody. I mean, obviously I watch the O-line. It's my passion. And, I think they're big physical guys. I just like watching the Cats in general. Okay. But, I pay attention. I actually had a chance to come in and talk to Coach K about the player development role, and unfortunately for me, I had to back out of the process because we just could not move to Manhattan if they had offered me the job. And so I got a chance to meet him and ask some questions about just the culture that he was trying to establish, and I thought it was awesome that he understood or he understands this generation of athlete, because they are different than you and I, Monty, right?
Yeah, man.
And right. And so I think that he's creating an environment that really speaks to those guys. But at the same time, there's part of me that knows that Manhattan is a very special place when it comes to recruiting and getting guys in, and getting the right guy into the program and into Manhattan, Kansas. And so just wrapping your arms around what Coach Snyder had established. And so, just an interesting dynamic there. And it looks like he's done a real good job of maintaining, his identity, but as well as building on what Coach Snyder and the K-State program was when he took leadership.
Yeah, with with your ministry, you're obviously a high character type guy. Were you always like that? Or who had a big impact? Was it Coach Snyder? Was it a high school coach? Was it someone in the pros who really, one, got you to start living a life of faith, and number two, kind of allowed you to become that better man? Because Coach Snyder does produce a lot of great men along with great football players. So who kind of had a big role in not your football life, but more your spiritual and your personal life?
Yeah, so I think Monty would attest to this, and I think he was a part of this. But honestly, he as an upperclassman, he was really good about adapting himself to the K-State culture and Coach Snyder's program, and then holding younger guys accountable. And I really do. I do remember spending a lot of time with Monty, and he was always a trickster and just kind of a fun guy to be around. But other guys were just like him, right? His class and higher. And so, you wrap your arms around the values and the virtues that Coach Snyder tried to instill in us. And, it's evident when you have some success in this program. And so sometimes you didn't always understand why Coach Snyder had us do some of the things that we did. But I'm telling you, as soon as I went to the NFL Combine, I understood. I mean, almost every single thing that he had us do off the field, apart from football, to prepare us to be men in the marketplace, men in the real world, apart from football, came to light at the NFL Combine when you're meeting with head coaches and team owners and GMs. And I mean, it's a job fair essentially, right? and a guy like me who wasn't super talented athletically, I had to present something other than just, my average, maybe slightly above average athletic ability at my position. And I owe a lot of that to Coach Snyder. And so on the other side of retirement, I struggled a little bit with identity, regardless of what I believed. I did. I left the NFL, and I thought I left 5 years too early. I wanted to play 10. And so trying to wrap my arms around that identity, I dealt with some depression and I went through, some life situations. And so I found myself on the other side of those things, making a decision. And I chose, my faith in Christianity, my faith in Jesus Christ, and all those things that Coach Snyder had given me were even illuminated to a greater capacity. I always compare it to this, that Coach Snyder, we came into the program and he put a tool belt on our waist, and he loads that tool belt up with tools. And so, every once in a while I may have been using a hammer to try to, screw in a screw. But once I figured out what that tool was for, man, I use all the tools in the right places, and it has made me, I hate to say successful in ministry, but just effective, right? And virtues and of manhood, being a husband and a father, and just a man in ministry, loving on other people.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, Ryan. And I totally agree, and I know Trav probably does as well. A lot of things that we learn as student athletes here under Coach Snyder and the people that also assisted with the program pays dividends. We had Deshaun Fogel on a couple of weeks ago, and the question was asked. Trav asked Deshaun what was tougher, the boot camp in the military or Coach Snyder's practices, and Deshaun said, without hesitation, the practices. So,
no doubt.
So you've been there. Real quick, I guess, what do you miss? If you can even think back that far, what do you miss the most about being a Wildcat when you in your playing time, or when you come back to Manhattan? What do you miss about K-State?
Man, that's just nothing like the K-State game day experience. At the height, there were some guys that laid the foundation before I came in '94. But when we left, just the excitement around the program, and you know what it's like running out on game day in the stadium, and just the atmosphere, and coming back and seeing that atmosphere at even greater capacity, and there's this expectation of excellence and winning championship football, man. I'll leave it at that, and that's one thing I miss about just football in general is the fan loyalty that we experienced in Manhattan. I hadn't really experienced that anywhere like that throughout the rest of my career.
Yeah. No, there definitely is a pride about that Powercat and the purple. And no matter what, I'm from the Dallas area. Whenever I go home, I have the Powercat on my truck, and I run into other K-Staters, and they come up to me and talk to me a little bit. So I totally get and understand what you're talking about. Well, Ryan, we really appreciate you taking time to talk with us. It's good to catch up with you. If you're ever back in Manhattan, please hit me up. Hit Travis up.
Please.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you out for some dinner or something. Although I know how you probably don't eat as much as you used to. I remember.
No, I can't.
You old lineman could put it down back in the day, man. But we'll definitely love to have you up and kind of hang out with you. But we appreciate you taking time.
Man, thank you guys for having me, man. We'll definitely reach out to you guys and wish you guys the best as you continue to just love on our K-State Wildcats.
Right on.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a good one.
All right, you too. You guys take care.
Take care.
Awesome. That was Ryan Young. That's probably been my favorite part of this, bringing this podcast to light, is getting to talk to, no offense to Ryan, but I was 4 years old when he started playing. He's an offensive tackle. Like, you say, hey, we're calling Ryan Young. I'm like, who the heck is Ryan Young?
Big Ryan.
But when we got a ton in common, men of faith, love football.
Yeah.
So it's, I love all these guys that you've been able to bring on, and I bring some of the next generation guys, Snyder 2.0 guys on. So it's I love that part of the show.
It's awesome. It's fun for me. It's fun for you. I think it's fun for the listeners also. But I've had other teammates of ours who also listen to the podcast, reach out to him and say, hey, man, thank you for having so-and-so. I was wondering where he was at.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was doing that now. So it's fun, and I enjoy it, and catching up. And I think the guys enjoy coming on as well because they have a love for our fan base just like we do, you know.
Yep.
So it's one of those things. But, you know, Ryan's a great guy. It's funny, if we met him in his prime, big man, 300-plus, gentle giant, but once he got on the field, he would run you into the ground.
Oh, I was looking at some pictures of him. He looked like a mean dude.
He would pick you up, smile at you, and do it again, man.
That's a large human being.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, no, he's a good dude. Good dude.
But two-time captain, obviously learned a lot non-football-wise from a great Bill Snyder staff and was able to carry those traits into life. And I agree with him. You know, he said, I mean, me and Coach, we butted heads a little bit. Mm-hmm. And by butted heads, I mean I would disagree with him and I would keep my mouth shut. But, I mean, it's not like I actually ever, challenged Coach. But literally, the day you leave, it was probably a year or two after I left, after I was done, I'm like, man, Coach was right. The real world's a grind. There's no free lunches out here.
And, you know, the funny thing about it, so many guys that I've played with that I run into, as much as we hate it, and I hate to hate it, we hated the process that Coach Snyder put us through because we were young, immature. We didn't want to listen because we thought we knew what we were doing. But looking back, I'm so thankful and I'm happy that we made it through the program. And because I had a conversation with Jamie Mendez a while back, so many guys I play with, if you look them up, they're successful fathers, successful husbands, successful businessmen. They're doing great things in their community no matter where it's at. They're doing great things for the youth. So as a whole, as a percentage, the program is producing quality men year in and year out.
And wins are important, but getting guys through the program to contribute to society, you could argue, I mean, we can't win 2 games and produce a bunch of good dudes, but, you know, if we can win 8 or 9 games a year and produce some great men, I think everyone's happy.
Yeah,
so,
I'm with you.
Yeah, but and two, with what Ryan just said about the new Coach Kleiman staff being able to maybe coach a little different style to this new generation that's coming up. We saw an example of that with Youngblood on that kickoff return. Got in trouble for dancing. You and I both know if Coach Snyder is still on that sideline, he might be done for the day. He might be done for the year.
I would have kept walking to the locker room because I would have avoided Coach as much.
Yeah, but we saw Youngblood apologize after the game.
Yeah.
Promised that would never happen again, sincerely.
Yeah.
And you could tell that was a sincere apology. That wasn't him doing it because Coach made him. I mean, that was like, I was a knucklehead. Yeah. I'm a stupid young kid.
It was him.
And took ownership of it. And I can almost guarantee that'll never happen again.
And I like the fact that he also said, I'm probably going to get called from my high school coach as well, which is awesome. That lets me know that his high school coach didn't play that either. So that's good to see, man.
Yep.
That's good to see.
So, a little bit of different coaching styles. Both equally as effective, in my opinion, and arguably, it's kind of the style these young people are forcing them to. I mean, I'm kind of in that in-between generation where I'm a little more toward the millennial side, but I had a pretty black and white father and respect authority, and which was a great upbringing and something I'll instill in my children. But this next generation, you just got to be a little softer, a little softer to the snowflakes.
Yeah, you have to, and to a certain extent, it's one of those things where kids' feelings do get hurt, and it's okay. But I've learned. Especially,
you got to deal with it every day at the high school level.
Especially with my son being in high school now and the high school kids that I coach, communication goes a long way.
Yep.
And, for me as a child, I was told what to do. I got yelled at, and if I even looked sideways, I probably was going to wish I didn't. But now I feel like communication and just sitting down with a young person and just truly communicating with them goes a long way. So I think Coach Kleiman and his staff are doing a great job with these kids, and I'm excited for the future of Wildcat football, man.
Yeah, you and me both. Let's get another W this weekend. Coming up against the Cyclones, Farmageddon. Should be a fun one. Should be a good game. That's what I'm excited about.
I agree.
I'm win or lose, we got good football to watch, preferably win.
Yeah.
But so I'll see you Saturday at the game, Monty.
All right.
Rest of Wildcat Nation. See you guys out there as well. Cold, wet, doesn't matter. Get your butt in the seats. Go Cats.
You've been listening to the Tannahill and Spiller Powercat Podcast, presented by Fridge Wholesale Liquor. Powercat Podcast. All rights reserved. GoPowercat.com and Spirit Street Publishing.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.